Hello, welcome back to Parenting Teens. Are you interested in sharing insights on parenting teens? This is the right place to be. Today we are going to talk about teens at Crossroads with Adulthood, and we're going to be looking at teens between the ages of 16 and 19. To do that with me today, I have Martha, my very good friend. Martha, can you just introduce yourself?
Thank you, Lillian. I was excited when you invited me to this show, and I have been following you since you started, so I am your stalker. Good to be here.
It's good to have stalkers.
My name is Martha Nantai, and I am an HR professional. I am very passionate with working with people. So happy to be here to share experience with my fellow mothers of teens.
Actually, when I was thinking about whom I could bring to the show to talk about this particular topic, I thought about you. One, because you're an HR practitioner, but also two, because I know that you're a mother of teens. And, you know, sometimes talking about these things is really easier when you have lived experience as a mother of teens.
That's true.
And I know that you have both boys and girls.
Yes.
So that puts us even in a better situation where we can really explore if there are any differences between boys and girls, but generally looking at parenting teens between the ages of 16 and 19.
Okay.
So to get us started, could you just share with us some of the behaviors that you notice among teens within this age group?
Oh yeah, there are quite a number of them. We have all grown up and gone through that age. Okay, people at my level, we have all gone through teenage. And the way we grew up as teenagers is quite different from what is happening today.
Very true.
When you told me to do this, that we are going to do this talk, I tried to do some research and just picked out a few things that I wanted us to touch on today, because they're so guiding. They will help the people out there who are struggling with their teens. If I may just read through them.
Go ahead.
We have seeking independence. Teens these days want to seek independence. They want autonomy. Number two, identity exploration. We also see peer influence. We see emotional intensity. These highs and lows, different moods at any time. You will experience that. Then we have risk-taking behavior. Teens will take risks at any time. I don't think we used to take risks so much then, but this age, yes, they do. And then we have cognitive behavior and mental health, just to mention but a few. Yes.
So as we get into talking about some of those things, some of those behaviors that we notice among teens and how they might affect their lives or their livelihoods. So Martha, having mentioned those behaviors, some of the behaviors that we will talk about, touch on a little bit in our conversation today, I also noticed that you know, we have our lived experiences as teens, and sometimes we perhaps get confused about our own experience as teens and might want to plant this on our teens. But I also recognize that teens these days are affected by different things. The society that they live in is different. The influences are different. Technology has evolved so much more than it was during previous years. So there are quite a number of influences that may be different. And I know as a practitioner, you also know that we need to deal with our teens' issues as individuals, as real issues as they happen right now. So can we just get a little bit into some of the behaviors that you mentioned?
Oh yes. I mentioned seeking independence. We see our children growing up when they're little. They seem to get attached to you. They seem to come close to you all the time. They're seeking your advice. They're seeking your guidance. But as they grow into 13 or 14 even, they start growing. Their bodies start to change. they start looking at things differently, not as a child anymore. So they want to go and experiment. They want to see themselves growing into somebody they have looked at and have admired to grow up like them. So you will see that they start living a different kind of life.
They become more independent.
Exactly. They want to have their own space. They look for their own items. They'll say, don't touch this, don't touch that, this is mine. Now they are going into that space where they feel that they have grown up into people who are independent. At 15 or 16, I won't say a child or a teenager is independent. It is not yet there, but that is what they want to be. So when you see them like that,
they also sometimes, that's when they stop wanting to come and sleep in your bed. That's when they expect you to knock at their door before you get in. That's when you start to feel that maybe they are detaching a little bit from you, and then you feel like you're losing your person.
Exactly.
And there's this thing that has been going around, people talking about teens being your friends, your children, specifically teens, them being your friends or not being your friends. I think that there is something that we need to think about there in terms of they need to be close to you.
Yes.
They may not be necessarily your friends. Maybe for a lack of a better word, we say friends, but we need them to continue to be close to us.
To trust you.
Yeah.
To trust you. You need to see that trust from them. When they're young and you can carry them on your back, carry them everywhere, they will grow up and say, Mommy, today, no, you're not carrying me. My friends are seeing me. They want that space. They want that area where they will be looked at as independent children. We also see peer influence in this one. When they go to school, they will see various kinds of children, all teenagers, like we're talking about. The way other teenagers live will entice them to live the same way. If they're so close or they have friends, they have a group of friends who are living a certain life, they will also want to live that life because they feel their friends are quite independent.
Yeah.
But you as a parent, you don't want to let go of your child.
Yes.
You're with their friends and you're touching their hair, you're making them straight, you're straightening their dress, and they'll say, Mommy, come on. I don't think I still need that. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay. So they will run away from that. They want that independence to say, okay, I am now able to look after myself, and Mommy, I will see Daddy, but I also have my space.
I need my space.
Yes.
I feel like they are really at crossroads in many ways because there's this influence from friends, but then there's also that strong will to be independent and discover their own identity as a person, as a human being. So I feel like they really are at crossroads because because when you have influence from your peers, then that means that you want to be a certain way, you want to dress a certain way, you want to look a certain way, and that's why sometimes maybe they are a little bit embarrassed by the things we parents do. But at the same time, while they're discovering themselves, they also want to really have self-awareness, be aware of who they really are. What do I stand for? What are my talents? What am I good at? How can I present myself as an independent individual who is different from the other individual?
Exactly.
So it's really a crossroads situation that they find themselves in.
Yes, but and in this kind of stage, you will find that as they grow, even their hormones are changing. So you're going to find emotional instability all the time. They will be happy at one point. They will be sad at another. They will be grumpy at another. They will be throwing tantrums, name it. So this is the time when they are growing up and experimenting and finding and whatever you have to say. But at this point in time, you have to really, really give a listening ear.
So this is what you are talking about, the emotional intensity, where they come from. They can be from euphoria or excitement to extreme sadness or depression, because they're struggling to manage different reactions or interactions within society, among people that they live with,
the community,
yes, dealing with different things that are thrown at them. And at the same time, this is a period when they are concerned about
academics.
Exactly. They are concerned about relationships,
yes,
how they relate with people.
Yes.
And I want you to touch a little bit on, we have romantic relationships, but also how do these teens relate with society generally? Because within society, you have different, you have like your family, you have there might be cultural expectations of teens to behave a certain way within their family, within their community, but also among their peers. There's a certain way they're expected to behave. And I feel like it would be good for us to get into a little bit of how they navigate these relationships and what we are seeing versus, for example, what we expect them to be.
These teenagers definitely look at the way we live. The parents, that is what I'm talking about. If the parents are showing love to these children, they will look for relations that are love-oriented. If in the family there is no love, expect that out there. That is what they will play, because they have seen it in their families. They have seen it from the people they have trusted most, that is their parents. So when they go out there, they will look for relationships that, for instance, if a child or if a teenager is in a family that doesn't show love to them, they will go out there and experiment it. They will now want to look for those people who can offer a shoulder to cry on, who can hug them. Hugs are very simple things, but they make a difference. When you hug a child, you're bonding with them. There are people who even are afraid of hugging their teenagers.
Yeah.
But if you do hug them, you're creating love, you're creating a bond. And when they go out there, that is what they will share.
They are looking for validation. But again, I feel that sometimes they are not very excited about hugging. Now they are conscious about their bodies. Like, for example, the boys are conscious about their development. They are conscious about physical features of girls and boys. So I noticed that, for example, my teen doesn't freely hug the way he used to hug.
Yes.
I think he's conscious that now I'm a boy, this is my mom, and we should hug, but we should be in a certain way.
I think I have seen that most with boys. Because I have both boys and girls. I have nieces and nephews who are teenagers. I have seen that most in boys. And you're right, because of the body changes, the growth that they feel they have now become a man. Even when they are 14 years, they feel like
they're conscious.
Yes, they're very conscious. But for girls, you will find that it is different. They even love it more. They want to feel loved. They love to feel pampered. So you will find that indeed, for boys, it is a different thing, and for girls, it is a different thing. But for boys, their relationships, you have to really be keen on what they want. You have to be keen on how they have grown up. Do they have a father figure? Do they not have a father figure? All those things affect the relationships of teenagers, especially boys. If a boy comes out to look for, say, a shoulder to cry on, they are not going to come as though they are looking for it.
Yeah.
They will act tough. They will,
it won't be explicit.
It won't be.
Yeah.
But they need it. They do need it. A tap on the back and just holding them and say, it will be fine.
So even when they are going through things, they are going to be acting tough.
Exactly. Because either they have seen daddy tough, daddy is tough, so I should also be
They're
tough.
not supposed to show weakness.
Exactly. But sometimes those emotions need to come out.
Yeah.
They need to come out for them to grow up into a person who is holistic.
Yeah.
Because if they hold it, if they hold, say, grievances or their excitement, or at a point it will catch up with them.
Right.
Yes.
There is another thing that you mentioned, which I want us to talk a little bit about, the issue of risk taking. You know, so now they are beginning to challenge societal norms. They are beginning to test you as a parent.
Oh, yes.
So they are going to start practicing certain behaviors that they didn't practice before.
Yes.
And maybe let's talk about some of these risk-taking behaviors that they might engage themselves in, and how parents could watch out for those behaviors, arrest them before they explode into something really difficult to deal with, and maybe it could help some parents and teens who are dealing with this kind of issues.
Yes. We have such behaviors as drugs, taking alcohol, or I will say substance abuse. They will go into communities and societies, especially schools. Our teens learn a lot from schools. So you will find that they break boundaries. They will say, oh, I've never taken Waraji. Let me try it. Let me see how people feel about it when they take it. So they will push that limit and boundary and say, let me take. But at a certain point, you won't know where they will stop. So that has to be curbed as soon as possible.
Maybe even before curbing it, talk to them about it already.
Exactly.
Let them know that you know that, and this is where now your knowledge about being a teen becomes useful, because you know for a fact that they are going to get into risk-taking behavior, which involves trying out new things like substance abuse, including drinking, alcohol, drugs, smoking. So do you think that maybe it's important for us to preempt this behavior by talking upfront?
It is. It is very important. You see, these teens have seen many things out there. They have watched movies. They have watched TikTok videos. That is the norm now. So they will see it somehow, somewhere. But if they hear it from a trusted source, you're talking about it, you're talking about the effects, you're talking about the repercussions, they will trust you and take it on. Even when they go out there to take this alcohol, because at a point you don't know, you're not with them everywhere. They will try it somehow. But tell them the repercussion of taking it or even abusing these things. And the health issues, the livelihoods, because sometimes you can go into it and you do not turn around to come back. You may think you're trying it out, but you may fail to come back out of it.
Yeah.
So it will affect you.
There are two types of parents. I'll come back to the two types of parents. But before that, I want to talk about the issue of risk-taking as regards health. You know, in past years, there's been issues about, HIV. HIV was so feared and is still so deadly. But we don't talk about HIV as much as we used to talk about even all STIs, like syphilis. Syphilis was such a feared illness. But these days, it seems like young people don't fear these things.
It's
Is
because
there something that we should do differently?
Oh, yes. I think why that is happening is because we used to get different symptoms, and you would see somebody and say, oh, that one is not well. These days, it's something you cannot tell by just looking at somebody. They're healthy. They look okay. So when these teens see these kinds of people and then they come, not stigmatizing, but they come and talk to them, you can live positively, which is very good also to talk about, because sometimes it's inevitable. You get it through injections, through different things, but talk about it. Let's talk about it and maybe highlight the issue that it affects your livelihood, it affects your health, it will affect your family, because whatever money you get has to come to your treatment, has to be taking care of you. You will not be able to take care of your children. You may not even have children. But I know there's a lot of topics, there's a lot of support, there's a lot of literature to read about how to take care of yourself. But in case you have gotten it, again, be open. Talk to the teens, if you know they have it, talk to them, encourage them, support them, and let them live a positive life. We also have another risk that I really didn't want to live without talking about. The breaking boundaries. They break boundaries of culture. You know, we have different cultures in Uganda. I will talk about Uganda, or even abroad. They have their cultures, we have our cultures. But the children will come and test you. They will know that, okay, this is my culture. I know it is, but I'm not going to do this. Let me see what Mommy will do. Intentionally. So they are breaking boundaries. They are tapping the doors that you don't want to open. And they're saying, what if we open this door? What will happen? So like a Muganda child, you can say, well, when we are greeting, you have to kneel down, or you have to sit a certain way, or you have to dress a certain way. And they'll say, really? Should I? Let me try a different way
and see what will
happen. So,
or what will happen.
Yes, they're risk takers. They'll take that risk also. Yes.
That is interesting. Before we come to talk about what parents could do and some kind of sharing experiences of what we've done that could help other parents maybe learn from that, and maybe also reflect on their own ways of managing these issues. I talked about two types of parents. Maybe there are more. But the two types of parents I'm talking about, there are these parents who prefer to talk about things up front with their teens, give them all the information and awareness about different things in life. For example, what we just talked about, alcohol abuse, substance abuse, and the urge to do or to take those things, talk about HIV, STIs, and all these risks that might follow getting into romantic relationships and getting intimate before you're ready and prepared, and many other risks. But there are also those parents who think that excluding or avoiding to talk about these things protects their children more. So the more they don't know, the more they won't venture into these things, and maybe they feel that they're protecting their children. Which parent are you?
I want to say I'm a bit of both. I am a bit of both. I am that parent that wants to talk about something, but I really want to get a window of opportunity. Sometimes it's very hard to start a topic and, talk about this.
I know, okay, I've been there.
My girl, come sit down. We're going to talk about this. But you want a window of opportunity somehow. Maybe you're watching something on TV and then something is hinted on, and then that will give you a chance to talk about a certain topic. Not talking about things is really affecting families. Not talking about things is really affecting families. Why? Because a child will be going through a situation and they will say, if Mommy has not talked to me about this,
is it even an issue?
How do I even start talking to her about this? I will not. But if they know you hinted it somehow, or you talked about it somewhere, they will be happy to come and say, you know what, Mommy, the other day we talked about this thing, this and this has happened. How should I go about it? They will be seeking solutions from you. So I encourage people to talk about things.
So me, I'm that parent who really believes in talking about things up front before, because now children are exposed to so many things. If you don't tell them, they are going to hear a scandalous story on TV, or they are going to find it on the phone, or they are going to hear it from a friend, or they are going to witness, they're going to see these things, or they are going to hear from their peers. There's so much. There's so many platforms where they will get information.
Oh, yes.
So I'm that kind of parent who wants to talk about things before they happen, so that you can kind of gear them towards protecting themselves.
Yes.
But I do agree with you on the issue of finding the right moment.
Exactly.
I think it's so much in my head that I should do it, but how to do it and when to do it is something that is tough.
Yes.
There are times when I find I'm able to sit down my children and tell them, look, we're going to talk about A, B, C, D, and we indeed talk about those things. And I ask them, what are your thoughts? How do you feel about this? How would you behave? Your person, if you're going through anything, come to me, tell me this. But then there are certain things that I don't find easy to talk about, but also you question yourself, how much is enough?
Yes.
At this point,
where do I stop?
Where do I stop? So I moving into how we can advise, or maybe not advise, because advising is such a strong word. I think that parenting is so complex that it's good for you to put yourself in your situation.
Exactly.
Hear
There's
what
no
people
one
say,
size
how they
fits
do
all.
things. Yeah, exactly. Hear how people do things. You don't have to do them exactly the same way, but blend and see what works in your context.
Exactly. And learning never stops. Learning never stops. So also when these teens go to school, they bring back information. They talk to you. They tell you things. Then you get a chance to even elaborate more. But if I have to take you back a bit, before this child becomes a teen, make them as close to you as possible, so that they'll be open with you along that teen age. Yeah. They will be open. They will come and say, well, because mommy used to give me time when I was 11 or 10 or 9, I know she will give me that time. They will trust you. So allow them that time to talk to you. Don't push them away. Don't ask them to wait for another opportune time. If they have asked the question, answer it. Give them an answer. If you don't, they'll go and find it somewhere. Internet, friends.
And then if you're not able to talk about certain things because maybe they are too complex for you, you don't have enough information, or you're not prepared, find people who can talk to them.
Exactly.
These days, teachers and schools are really open. They are talking to teens about so many things. They've really taken a huge role of parenting our kids for us, our children for us. So openly talk to the teachers. It could be senior woman teacher, senior male teacher, or it could even be a counselor in the school, or somebody that, a teacher that they feel comfortable. It could even be a patron of sports, or somebody who really your children look up to. But it could also be a professional. Could be a professional counselor who can really talk to your child and they can open up to.
And I think a professional counselor, that is when the child has now crossed the line where you think you can manage them. We want you, the parent, to first manage the situation before you even bring in a third party, because now they will start wondering, mommy doesn't know, daddy doesn't know. Now they're pushing me to another person. They might even close more. But you have a support system that is close to you. You have family members, you have sisters, you have brothers, you have uncles. But we have to be careful which one we are choosing to support our child, to mentor our child, coach them. Because not everybody is aware of what is going on or will give the right information. Some people may even just be diverting them even the more. So you get a trusted person. But most importantly, be there, be present. You, the parent, either the father or the mother. If you want to be together, be there together with that trusted person.
And don't allow things to get out of hand.
Exactly.
And start dealing with them. Start introducing them. Like you said, be friends right from the beginning, and start introducing these things as they arise. As they grow in age, because certain things cannot be talked about at a certain time. You also sieve what you talk to your teens about. I still come back to the professional thing, because these days this whole thing of friends and relatives, but teens are also very aware of their mental health, and they are quite open about mental health than we were. So I feel like some of the things, like we talked about earlier, that you actually mentioned about the highs and lows, the emotional intensity that can be in different extremes. These are some of the things we don't really understand them as people who are not professional. So I feel like some of these things really need to be talked about by people who understand how to engage them. The other issue could even just be, do you think that these people around your teens have your best teens' interest at heart?
That's a very good question you have to ask yourself, and search your soul and be honest with yourself. Don't push your teen to somebody you don't even trust, because what will they give you?
You may even trust the person, but the person may not know how to talk to teens.
Exactly.
We might be making assumptions that, because that's your uncle, that's your aunt, they should talk to you. But then
they may not.
They don't live with your teen. So there's a lot they need to learn about them for them to be able to guide and help them.
If not, you can also take the initiative to learn the answers.
Yes.
If a teen asks you a question and you're not aware of how to respond to it, ask for some time.
Yeah.
Say, you know what? I need to get conversant with that topic. Let's talk about it tomorrow at such an. Make an appointment. You can even move out of the house, go somewhere, sit, but initiate your learning. Learn about it, and then you can tell your teen what you have learned.
Yeah.
Because we don't stop to learn.
And always be on the lookout for those opportunities, because they're not going to come to you and say, "Oh, mommy, I would like us to talk about this issue." They are not going to come. You are going to have to continue to nurture this relationship, because they are struggling with their own independence, and the more they can detach from you, the better for them.
Yes.
So they can do the things that they think, and they're very aware of things that you're not happy about, or you don't want them to do. So they're going to hide.
Exactly.
So the more you keep away from them, the more they are going to find the space to do the things.
Exactly. That is the breaking the boundaries we talked about also.
Yeah.
Yes. The risk taking.
Yeah. There's a lot that we could really talk about.
Oh yes.
Teens.
It's a big topic.
Yes. Being at crossroads between teenage and then adulthood. There's just too much that we talk, and it's just so much that parents are dealing with these days. We can't finish, we can't exhaust everything today. Yeah. But for all of you who have been watching, if you enjoyed listening to us, please subscribe, like, comment, join the conversation. There is no end to learning. Experiences really help us to think through and reflect upon the ways that we are parenting our teens, and they could help. They could even stimulate other ideas or thoughts for yourself if you're dealing with issues of parenting teens. Thank you very much, Martha, for coming. I wish to see you another time.
Oh yes, indeed. I will be glad to be here again, Lilian. Thank you for allowing me to sit here with you today.
You're welcome.